over the first. Oh, he's gone! Oh, around crash corner!
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Speed Without Engine, the place where fast-paced action meets pure fun. Get ready for some sick designs, crazy crashes, and tons of laughs. Let's go.
This course is long, it's fast, it's got more features than normal, with that little cheeky ramp at the start as well, which might catch one or two out as the day unfolds. Nice smooth start though here from Team SPEEDHAWK. There they go through the disco tunnel. We'll be happy with that as we see them exit the disco tunnel. And then heading towards the bone shaker, which does certainly shake the bones and gets that propeller rotating that little bit more. This represents a decent start at the top of the course, certainly, for Team SPEEDHAWK. There's the berm, which does tend to throw these soapboxes high. They got through it quite low, which you won't see that very often today. Which is the ramp. Before that, they go through this, which is crash corner, the never-ending corner. Here's the final ramp, down towards the finish. It's a nice run, he just lost it towards the end. And the civil engineer, it certainly looks the part, this one. Nice and slick, off down the ramp and looking quick already. They've got no excuses here, this particular team. There's the disco tunnel, safely through there. The suspension either side, meaning it's not been a problem so far. Through the bone shaker, here in the Domain Park, the city's oldest park, and down they go, picking up speed all the time. Here's the berm, heading now towards crash corner, and it lives up to its name as they spin it through there. That's what crash corner's there for, to find the speed and make them pay. But it would have been so much faster, wouldn't it, if they could have kept it together through there. They were doing so well until they got to crash corner. They had too much speed, not enough control. Flops over the final ramp and over the finish. Down the ramp they go. Oh, they've lost the back already. They've lost the back end already, I think. Yeah, they have. Still going, though, in fairness to them. There's the plunger that's gone as well. That's not going to come in handy. In fact, they're shedding equipment all the way down. Whether that's to make it lighter, I'm not sure. There's the bone shaker, shaking up the plumbing van as it goes. COPPERTOP micro still going. Around crash corner, around crash corner. Oh, around crash corner. You could see it coming, couldn't you? The minute that little wheel started to taste the air, it was all over for COPPERTOP micro. And there's the end of it, to all intents and purposes. And that's what's on the inside of a plumbing van, in case you were wondering. There he is, look. He might have been better off going down on that in the first place. Over the ramp and over the finish line. It promised so much. Down the ramp, it's nice and low, isn't it? Low centre of gravity. Looks like it'll have decent balance, this one, with a bit of suspension and plenty of smoke through the disco tunnel. And it's so far so good for HILLBILLY MONSHINE race and the winners of this race in Auckland. A lot of concentration there etched on the face of the pilot, round the berm, a little bit higher than some. Moving towards crash corner, you've got to keep it nice and straight through here. You've got to dab the brakes potentially, then over the ramp at the end, and then towards the finish and through and into the bales. There we go, first puff of smoke, the fire's out and away they go. Through the disco tunnel, and so far so good. This one looks quick. That helmet, we'll find out whether that's misplaced or not. There's the bone shaker, which poses no real problem. Speed being picked up all the time, and there's the berm, and he's lost his hot sauce on the way through the berm. Here's crash corner, though, which has been a problem for some, and he went very wide there. And he manages to oversteer it back, over the ramp, and then spins it at the finish line in 52. He's off and running with that light swinging around at the front and that contraption on the side, which could affect the balance of this soapbox as we go. So far, so good, through the disco tunnel. It's going to need a bit more speed, I think, if he's going to challenge at the top of the leaderboard here. Now the bone shaker. Mid-track through the berm. And he's got a bit of speed going into crash corner as well. That hump gives you a little bit more speed. Now he's going to try and get it through. Oh, he's on two wheels. Can he hold it? Oh, look at him using his own body weight to get around the corner. Whew! Wow! Made of wood and on the way down in Auckland. Moving on now towards the snowstorm. All so far so good. And I've got to say on the eye, this one looks quite quick. Here's the bone shaker. No problem there, apart from the fact the front log is starting to fall off. Picking up speed all the time. Here's the berm. Nice and quick into the berm. Very quick into the berm. Oh, and he's lost it through the berm. It's as quick as we've seen anybody go through that part of the circuit. Here we see it again. Wrestling with the steering wheel, trying to keep it straight. Knows he's lost the back end. The bales are there to slow him down. here today. They are going to try and make it down to the bottom, as they always do. The spirit always fantastic in the Red Bull Soapbox Race. Through crash corner. Over the final ramp. Oh, he's lost it again. Over the finish line, though. And down he goes down the ramp. And he's, well, I'm not quite sure what he's doing here. He seems to be all over the place at the top of the course. Well, he seems to be sliding down at the moment through the disco tunnel, sideways on. Anyway, Jack the Knife's on his way down. Here's the Bone Shaker. He seems to be almost pulling and lifting the soapbox down the circuit. Here we go around the berm, and he's going to skid it round the berm. One way and then the other. Oh, through the berm. He's okay. Here's crash corner. Around he goes. Here's the finish line. Can he make it over the ramp? Yes, he can. And over the finish line. What a spectacular run. 118.29. Rear wheel steering down the ramp. Over the first. Oh, he's gone. Straight away. Rear wheel steering. Who'd have thought it? The first ramp, the back end goes, and wallop. Ooh! Onto his shoulder. Very spectacular, but it didn't last long, did it? The face of concentration at the controls. Here we go through the disco tunnel. Would indicate it's maybe not the strongest. Here's the Bone Shaker, which will test that. Oh, there you go. Didn't look very strong. Now what can he do with the cab? He can't see. He's not sure where he's going. His head's stuck underneath it. Keep it going, Kevin. We can see you. There he is. Plenty of speed through the berm. He doesn't know how he's got there. Kevin can see again. He's lost his helmet. He's lost half his soapbox, but he's not deterred. Through crash corner. He's only got the... Oh, nearly lost it on the ramp. He couldn't see it. Over the finish line and through the bales. Oh, blimey. So down they go. Looks very, very flimsy around the two. Oh, look at that. You've got to steer it. They're in the crowd at the start. They went straight left off the start ramp initially, never got to the second ramp. Oh, look, it's the front end that goes, and once the front end's in the air, you can't steer it. They've navigated that first ramp, which one or two haven't even got that far so far today. Through the disco tunnel with those angled wheels at the front. Let's hope they can hold together all the way down. Nice and big. Here's the Bone Shaker with the anchor hanging behind the soapbox. Give as much speed as they possibly can. Will they go low? Will they go high? To lose it, but they've got it back again. Here's the long sweeping turn crash corner, and they're really fast through there. Look at the speed of this one. This is a really good run from ANCHORMAN. Over the finish line, the wheels went at the end, but they got there. 1 minute, 0.24. Who's pumping his arms to keep the stags running down the side. So off they go through the disco tunnel, nice and fast so far. And the performance is also taken into account when it comes to scoring in the Red Bull Soapbox. There's the Bone Shaker. Little bit of sideways action through that corner. Here's the speed around the berm, and very smooth through there as well. Not even a twitch on exit. Got to keep it nice and smooth through here, and that's exactly what they do. They've still got this little ramp to negotiate. Over they go and over the finish line. Really good time. And all the way down, which is brave. Oh, a little bit of front-end action off the first ramp. A little bit bouncy, wasn't it, on the way down? There's the disco tunnel, safe and sound through there, and a bit of air again. When it leaves the ramp, it takes off and then comes down again. There's the Bone Shaker. Nice and fast. Here's the berm. Loads of speed into the berm. Oh, look at that up there. Really fast through there. And they've still got that final little ramp as well, and that front end keeps bouncing up and down, doesn't it? Here's crash corner. Using the weight to get through there. Here's the ramp to finish. Over safe and sound. And oh! Lost it at the end. Meerkat hung on all the way down apart from the end. Looks well put together. And they're showing a nice turn of speed at the top of the course as well. It looks relatively easy to steer as well, which is always a good thing. Down we come then towards Bone Shaker. There we go through there, no problem. Movement on the back end as they went through there. That's the soapbox. Oh, they've lost it there. They were okay, I thought. There it starts to go, and then when you try and straighten it and oversteer, you lose it altogether. There we go, a bit more. Down towards the finish. Still got the berm and still got crash corner. We've still got another ramp as well. It's okay, lads, we'll wait for you. It's going a bit quicker now as well. They're getting more confident as they go. Crash corner. There's the wheel gone. They might have to push the rest of the way over the ramp in a fashion and down towards the finish line. And it's got some nice suspension at the back. You can see straight away that as it came down the ramps, he was already getting some action from the suspension. Intergalactic wagon on the way down, and Ben looking very confident. Lots of speed through the bone shaker, and the suspension really to the fore there. Now we're heading towards the berm, and there's lots of speed with this particular soapbox. Here's the berm. Nice and quick through there, and nice and smooth. He took a good line through there, didn't he? That's as quick as we've seen through there. Over the ramp at the finish and over the line. And that's 47.96. Only 3 seconds off the quickest run we've seen today. He's got handlebars for steering and he's got small wheels. The 3 things you don't like to see on a soapbox, but they've got all of them rolled into one. So Team Toothless on the way down through the disco tunnel. The Dragon is picking up some steam. Breathing fire on the way down over the bone shaker. All the things that tend to conspire against you working okay at the moment, and he's standing up and he's confident, although he's starting to lose little bits. Here's the berm, and he's safely through there, and those little skateboard-type wheels working really well here. Yes, he is. He's okay through there. Here's the ramp at the finish. Over the line he goes. Really well done. I didn't give that soapbox a chance at the top. Big red car. Through the disco tunnel and over the first ramp, and wiggles. Oh, he started to wiggle. The wheel's gone. Oh, he's over. Wiggles by name, wiggles by nature, and it didn't last very long at all. And the minute the wheel comes off and you flip like that, it's all over. Not sure what he can see. Anyway, off we go. There he is, look. We can see you, Steve. Down goes this very, very large slice of beans on toast through the disco tunnel. But that's exactly what Steve Pilotosaurus is doing. Over the bone shaker, all the beans still on the bread. As we head down towards the berm. Oh, he's lost it there. Never got to the berm. Too much speed, lost the back end into the straw bales. So down he goes around the berm. Now the berm itself will help it pick up a little bit more speed. Nice and quick through Crash Corner. They've certainly got the speed back again. Through Crash Corner. Oh, he's just caught the corner there. I thought he was going to go again. Over the ramp, over the finish line, and then saved by the bales.